Clear.
All right. We're rolling. Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals. I'm Elliot.
I'm Lauren.
We're two halves.
Of a whole idiot.
And boy, do we have some things for each other and for you all.
I guess we can consider that like our Christmas holiday break that people do.
Yeah.
It's more like a depression siesta.
That's what we did.
You know.
It certainly
And
wasn't.
snow.
We're gonna record and then never do that.
Yeah, we'll do this over Messenger. It'll be great.
And then no.
And next thing you know, it's been a week. That's funny.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's been months, but here the fuck we are. Yeah. Anyway.
Hi.
So, I need to know. Putting my project down.
Yeah.
I need to know if I'm crazy or other people simply don't pay attention.
Probably both.
I think I'm probably crazy. So, I was on the bus yesterday.
Okay.
Coming home. And I was in like the middle of the bus. Like the very front of like the top of the stairs. You know? And this guy was sitting in the very front, like the 3 seats that's usually like to the side.
Yeah, the like handicap seats that push up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's sitting there, and this dude, like, sneezed. And then he was like legs spread, coughing, like spit dripping. And then wait.
I'm in my house and I do that.
It gets worse. So then he gets up to get off the bus, and he touches the railing.
No.
Wait, it gets worse. He touches the railing, he gets off the bus. I watched someone no less than 5 minutes later get up and touch exactly where he just had his hand. I watched it happen, and I was disgusted. And I'm just like, am I the crazy one in the situation where I'm just like, am I a germaphobe? Is this like...
No. That's disgusting.
Or is this just like, does nobody pay attention to that shit?
Well, it's more on him. Like,
it's fucking biological warfare at this point. Like, are you crazy?
I get not, because like I don't like to be looked at, so I don't look at people in public either. Like, I mean, I watch people if I know I can watch them, but like for the most part, I just keep my head down and everything like that. So, like, I probably would have looked at him if he sneezed like that, especially if he was just not covering his mouth.
And he was, like, hacking. Like, he wasn't
covering
his
you can
mouth.
best believe it. I'm like, what is going on with this dude? Is he okay?
And then, he just, like, got off the bus and was, like, gone. And I was like, okay.
Oh.
And then, I watched someone just, like... And, like, I'm sitting in the bus... Like, I didn't even want to walk through the area that he was just in. Like, I don't even want to breathe that air. I don't want those particles on me. And then I'm just like, I'm going to fucking lose
I think that's
it.
what bugs me the absolute most is the fact that he didn't have the self-awareness that he's around people. You cover your goddamn mouth.
And, like, don't dribble spit on a fucking bus.
Like,
I don't know. I was like, am I the
people.
crazy one for noticing that and being grossed out by it?
No. Because that's disgusting. That's nasty. Nasty. He's probably the same kind of people that thinks wiping his butt is homophobic.
I don't know. He looked like he was of the unhoused persuasion.
No.
So, like, maybe he was sick. And
he might have been... I always assume... I hate to say I assume this, but I always assume there's a mental health thing behind it, too. Because that is, unfortunately, a high percentage of homeless is schizophrenia. So I think, like, you probably don't have a very strong education. You don't understand that, like, maybe, like...
You're maybe a little less
basic science.
Aware.
You also probably don't have the ability to get as clean as you need to be. So, like, I try and give... But, I mean, I also know of homeless people who know how to cover their mouth and sneeze into their elbow. So, like, and cough into your arm. Like, I feel like that's something we learn at kindergarten.
Like,
So,
if I'm at home, listen.
that just goes back to the whole putting your card away kind of thing. It's just normal human respect about being in the Publix. In the Publix, you just know that there's other people and you got to be aware of that.
If I'm at home and a sneeze catches me off guard, I'm just going to sneeze.
Yeah, if you're at my house, I don't give a fuck.
I don't always catch it.
No.
But if I'm in public and near
another
human being, I will turn myself inside out to, like, contain myself.
I sneeze in my fucking coat. I'll sneeze snot straight into my cleavage.
So,
I don't give a shit.
I don't understand being on a
do you know how many times I've sneezed and I just feel like the snot hit the inside of my shirt and I'm like, well, I can't take this hoodie off anymore because there's a giant ass loogie on the inside, but...
At least it's not on anybody else or anything.
I guess it's not like on my face or dribbled on the front of the actual sweatshirt that I'm wearing.
It's better than being disgusting.
Yeah.
It's just spreading
But
germs.
also, like, let's talk about men's hygiene. I mean, that's kind of the thing. That's what it is. It's like men aren't taught to, like, have... I think the whole thing is like...
It's diabolical. Like, it's cold season. Cover your fucking
Right.
mouths. COVID
Me
is
and
still a
Ryan
thing.
we're watching Jersey Shore. And there's I love Jersey Shore. He's into it. He's like, Mike's a dick. And I was like, well, Mike gets sober and he gets to be great. And he's like, does Angelina come back? I can't stand her. I was like, I appreciate that you are, because I've low-key Stockholmed him by putting it on whenever we play Stardew Valley. Because it's like, if we're going to play Stardew Valley, we're going to watch Jersey Shore too. Because I don't have to pay attention to
Stardew Valley. He's going to be like, no, I don't want to play because you can watch Jersey Shore.
I can tell he loves it because he's like, wait, what's going to happen? Like, he was like, does Angelina come back? He's like invested. He's like, wait, so is Dina here forever? Like, does Sam and Ronnie stay together? Like, what happens? I'm like, we'll watch Family Vacation. I promise you, it will catch us up. Like, it's fine. Like, and I'm giving him a little bit, like, obviously Mike went to jail and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. But there's this whole part in Italy where Dina talks about, like, they were looking at the statue of David and Sammy says, like, oh, he looks like a metro. And I just immediately think about, like, the noughties, the early 2000s, and how being clean was seen as some form of homosexuality as a metro, where you're just a straight man who's clean, so of course you're a metrosexual. I don't miss that era, but I feel like that's still ingrained in so many people's brains. It sucks.
Oh, the amount of people, like, I've seen so many women on TikTok be like, oh, I asked my boyfriend how he showers, and, like, I saw her...
Water dribbling down their asshole?
Like, I saw a woman, like, ask her husband, and he said that he, like, put soap in his pits, like, around his balls, and that was really about it. And
Narsty.
He was
Narsty.
a grown
Narsty.
man. But,
Narsty.
like, people don't get taught how to wash themselves. And it's okay if you don't know how to wash yourself, but you can learn, and you can
It's not
clean
that
yourself.
hard. Well, so it's like, I always tell people, because, like,
wash your ass.
with doing...
Hand, soap, ass crack, clean it.
Poop comes out of there.
Get up in there.
I don't even care if you just take a washcloth up in there and just do a little credit card swipe once in a while. Like, that's all you gotta do. Just
if you're in the shower,
just make sure your credit
shower.
Like, if you
wash your
had,
ass crack, the
if
whole
you had,
thing.
I'm so sorry you guys opened this and it's immediately snot and shit. Sorry, but you know what? It is what it is. It's cold season, but like, if you had a really messy poo, wipe your butthole when you're in the shower. Like, I think that's one of those things, like, I was talking
to
to...
if anything was messy at all. If you're in the shower, wash your ass.
I was talking to, like that's the bare minimum, is if you had a messy poo, wipe your butt afterwards, but, like, apparently that's not a thing. But I'm, like, sitting here, and I think about it, and I'm like, I can tell when I haven't wiped all the way, because that's why I like the Cottonelle wipes. I'll, like, do a couple of dry wipes, and then one good Cottonelle wipe to get you definitely clean. But, like, you can tell, and you can feel it. It itches and it burns. Do you not have that anymore? Like, is it just up in that butthole hair? Like, what's going on?
Listen, you can clean it.
It's not hard.
Like
it's up there with the ones where it's like, these are the questions I have where I wish I could be a man, but I know I'd be a clean man, so I still wouldn't have these questions answered, because I'd wipe my asshole. And that's what, like, I asked Ryan and Mike these questions, and they're both like, I don't know, because I wipe my butt. So it's like, and all my friends, as far as I know, wipe my butt. Like,
I just, like, I don't even, like, I don't know any gross dudes, because I don't fucking know any men. But, like,
and then, I mean, you do know you've, like, accepted into your life aren't gross.
Because their wives would kill
them. Exactly.
And also, they're just not gross guys.
Yeah, they're men who clean themselves.
Like a normal human person.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things I think about it a lot with, like...
nothing to do with your sexuality.
No.
It means you're clean.
It means you're a human, decent human being. I think about it with, like, hair, how, like, especially in our generation, we were not taught how to wash our hair. We were not taught that you do not put shampoo on the ends. You only put conditioner on the ends. You don't put conditioner on your scalp. How many of us were walking around with greasy, slick back fucking heads because we're just slicking it in there, man?
And then you leave it on the whole time you shower. And then
right.
you that bitch off at the end.
And it's awkward. Why is my hair still dirty? And then we only shampooed our hair once because, like, I didn't know that you could wash it twice, and that's what you're kind of supposed to do. Hey, yeah, fun fact, guys. If your shampoo doesn't suds up the first time, you're technically supposed to wash it again. You want to actually wash it to the point that you get suds, because it's like breaking the enamel on your nail polish or something like that. You know, you got to buff that first surface, get that first little layer of grime off of there so you can get in there. It's like putting the power wash spray on your dishes. You want to break into that grime first, break it down, and then get in there with the good shit.
Because your hair is a sink of dirty dishes.
Kind of, sometimes. Especially when I go like a whole week. Like, you know. And there's dry shampoo in there. Like, that's the one thing. I'm really thankful with it. As short as my hair is and as thick as it is, I don't have to wash it but like once every week and a half. Like right around the week and a half mark. That's when I start feeling like I remember what it was like to be 17 and washing my hair every day because Sherry made me. And like day 3, my hair was a grease ball. And my hair was long too. And then I got to college and got depression, hardcore, and didn't have a mother sitting there telling me to shower. And then I went through that dirty phase that you always have at some point in time with depression. And then it was like a whole good 2 weeks I didn't wash my hair.
Mood era.
Yeah. And then, like, a good whole 2 weeks of not washing your hair, and it's, like, your body, and that's just what I tell people. It's, like, you should do it in small chunks, but if you have that month where you can just kind of fuck off with your hair, that first 2 weeks is going to suck. But the last 2 weeks of your month, you're like, wow, my hair doesn't need to be washed that often. Not everybody. I will say not everybody. There are some people who need to wash their hair often. Yes. But,
Heather's hair gets, like...
It's so wild because most people who have curly, textured hair need to like not wash their hair often. Her hair,
her hair will get itchy, and, like dirty. She's like, I have to wash my hair.
Yeah, she got that thick hair though too. But yeah, no, it's one of those things. Like I think about that. Like there's certain things that we weren't taught. Like apparently deodorant is best if you put it on at night, not in the morning. Dry shampoo is the same way. I will 100% say. Dry shampoo at night, the day before you're supposed to be greasy, is the way to go. That's the best way to do it. Because like most of the grease that you're gonna get in your hair that you form is overnight because you're putting your head against cotton pillowcases most of the time.
Probably sweating.
Your skin, you're sweating. Yeah. So yeah, dry shampoo the night before. Like if you know day 3 is your greasy day, day 2, make sure I shampoo the night before. It helps.
I also understand that a lot of people that don't know how to wash themselves are white.
And they don't know to lotion?
White people are not taught how to properly clean themselves.
Washcloths. Scrubbies. Anything. Any kind of thing other than just your hand is usually probably a little bit better. Now, I do hand on certain things. But, like, most of the time, I have my loofah. And then I have my like, exfoliating spongy thing. And I'm, like, in there scraping layers off of my skin.
I have an African nut sponge. Mama, I will never go back.
No. I have a loofah on a stick for my feet.
I walk out of the shower like a baby.
Yeah.
Like a lobster.
Fresh skin. Yeah.
With no skin.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I'll do my bare hands for my pits and my bits.
Yeah.
And my face.
So I can get in the folds. Well, the face I do.
I have a scrubby for my face. But like, my pits and my bits.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah.
Every other surface of my body
sponge.
is getting scrubbed the fuck off.
And I still even go over it with the sponge. Like, I still always usually, like, if I'm doing my arms with my sponge, I still end up doing one of these where I lift my arm up and hit the side of the titty and under the titty. I will say, though, too,
my African nut sponge is making my fucking body wash stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Because
you don't need that much. Yeah, no, you don't need that much. No.
I will sing the praises of an African nut.
I'm back on bar soap. I went to Lush. And they had this really good. It was like an orange cranberry one right around Thanksgiving. That was really good.
I use Old Spice like a teenage boy.
I love that for you. Ever since my skin got burned by Old Spice deodorant, I don't use Old Spice anymore.
It hasn't burned me. Or Heather.
Yeah, it's just... Now I'm just...
So sensitive that that's all I can use.
I hope
it never burns me.
The Toms is my favorite. I really do like the Toms the most. I still feel like I have to reapply a little bit more often, though. But it smells so much better than the Arm & Hammer one. The Arm & Hammer... just smells like my dad, and I hate it. Gross. It smells like a certain Old Spice, and I just don't like it. Yeah. But yeah, I think about like the things that we didn't get taught as teenagers and how that rolled over, and
how disgusting we were. Oh, I know we smelled bad. Yeah. Like really bad.
Like none of us. Like I think about the girls that I went to high school with, and none of them washed their makeup brushes.
And then like
not a single one of them washed their like little. Any of that kind of shit.
Some of us, the lucky ones, who didn't get taught to wash themselves properly, And
figured it out on your own.
We're also the cigarette kid.
Aww.
So not only do you stink because you're a teenager and teenagers reek,
smell.
You also smell like an ashtray and you don't even know it because all you smell
is the same.
All the time.
Yeah, you're nose blind to it.
An ashtray.
Yep.
So.
It's so much fun.
PSA kids, because there's children listening to this, obviously.
Yeah, right.
If you have a parent that smokes, you probably smell like an ashtray.
I'm sorry.
And I'm very sorry, but
you're the ashtray kid.
You have to just know.
If you don't know who the ashtray kid is, it's probably you.
It's you.
And I feel like I probably wasn't fully an ashtray kid because my dad wouldn't smoke in the house, but he smoked in the car, and I sat directly behind him. So like all that's, and it's like, you can only get so much of the smoke out of the car. Like I still remember being 11 and smelling that red Marlboro like light up, and I'm like, that smells so good. The start of a Marlboro Red is like still such a good smell to me. Weirdly enough, just like gasoline, I like the smell of gasoline. I'm one of those people.
like the smell of gasoline.
I love the smell of a gas station, unless it's like
do not
exhaust.
Like the smell of a cigarette.
No. But it's the spark. I don't know what it is. The spark of a Marlboro Red. Maybe it's because it's road trip smell too. One of those weird smells that you accustom with things. But the rest of the smell of a cigarette. Yeah. But
and then it never goes away. Like you can't wash your clothes and
because
dry them.
The dryer is also tainted.
In a house where
everything smells
a smoker smokes.
Yeah.
That's the house.
The one thing my mom never let my dad smoke in the house. The one time my dad smoked in the house, I remember we were in North Carolina, and I don't remember why my mom wasn't home, but I remember it storming, and my dad didn't want to go stand in the rain because we didn't have a covered porch. It was one of those weird duplexes where you just step outside and you're straight into the outside world. It's just like you have like one of those little...
That should be illegal. Your front door should not be so close to the outside world.
Right, because it was like you had a 3x3 little concrete patio. Your neighbor's door was right there because it was a duplex. So like if you and your neighbor open the door at the same time, it's like, oh, hi. How are you? Like those houses in Lawrenceville where they just open up onto the sidewalk. Nope. I lived in a house like that in Garfield, where it was like we had our front porch at least, and then we had like a tiny little row of bushes on sidewalk. Nope, you couldn't sit on our front porch because people were just there. Nope. I hate it. Like I think about that house in the duplex. You just open it up and it's like the world. There's no porch, no cover, there's nothing. So he, the one time, decided to smoke a cigarette inside the house, at the oven, at the vent turned on and everything, didn't know I was still awake. And I walked out and went, what are you doing? Being like 10, maybe 11. Snitching. Hardcore.
Oh, 100%.
Hardcore. My mom came up, Dad smoked in the kitchen.
He's probably like,
shut the fuck up.
Asshole.
Well, he didn't offer me money or anything. He didn't bribe me. He was just, don't tell your mother. And I was like, I'm telling Mom.
Yeah, no, she's the favorite parent. Sorry, you suck.
Yeah, sorry. Mm-mm.
And also, don't smoke in my house.
Yeah, don't smoke in the house. It's a rental, too. It wasn't even like we owned it. We rented it. So it's like, you definitely weren't supposed to smoke in it.
Too, like, I could probably get away with smoking weed in my house.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know, it's fine. But, like, because it doesn't, like, cling to the walls.
No.
Like, it doesn't turn your walls yellow.
It doesn't leak from the ceiling when you take a shower whenever the ceiling sweats. That's the grossest thing I have ever discovered about cigarettes. We lived in a place in Hazelwood where the people before us were smokers for like over a decade in that house. And while my partner at the time like painted and scrubbed the walls and everything for us to move in because it was his dad's property, every time I would take a shower, I would look up and there would just be beadlets of tar seeping from the mold sealed paint in the ceiling. And I never felt clean in that house. It never smelled. It was totally fine because it was hardwood, so there was no carpets, thank God. But like, you just never could feel clean. Like even there was always like an after smell in the house. It was always musty. It didn't smell like cigarettes, but it didn't smell good. And then like you take a shower and you just look up and you're like, is this dripping on me while I'm showering? Probably.
Yep.
Probably.
And do I even notice because I'm already wet?
Nope. I can't smell it, can't feel it. I don't know. So who knows? Who knows how much I spunk when I lived in that house? Ugh, I can't.
Gross.
So like, I will never, even if, Ryan doesn't smoke in my house. And thankfully, he does the vape now, so that's way better. I don't care. Whatever. He actually...
that's not going to yellow the wall.
Oh, yeah, you were there. He found the vape that has the adjustable, which is so freaking nice. Because he hates the 5%, so it gives him a headache. But... I guess this is all trailing into my whole thing about, like, people haven't learned anything and we're still doing all these shitty things to people that we learned in the 2000s were bad. Like shaming women for just being bitches. So, the whole Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni thing, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and I didn't really, like, get into it too much because I immediately from the beginning, the minute when everybody's like, well, she doesn't interview well, and she's a bitch when she interviews, and she was catty when she was a teenager on Gossip Girl in the 2000s when people were pinning girls against each other. Hello, Hilary Duff, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, and Paris Hilton, and Christina, and all of them. Like, look at how those women were treated. Of course, and it's like, also, I can't imagine having the inane thought that a famous person is inherently nice. Like, I assume all famous people are narcissistic assholes until proven innocent. Like, Pedro Pascal is, like, Pedro, Keanu, Willem Dafoe, Christoph Waltz are, like, the top 4 men I can say are probably the safest people I would trust from the, fame world. But still, even then, it's like, I don't know you.
They're actors.
They could be really good at just being nice people, and then behind the doors, they're assholes.
I firmly believe that Tom Holland is probably a really nice person. Like,
and Zendaya seems like a very sweet person. Yeah. But, like, I
Virgo
don't know them. And that's not, like, to sit there and assume that she's not a bitch.
And you won't.
Right.
But also, like, so what if she is a bitch?
Yeah. It's one of those things,
You're not married to her. You're not her friend. You don't know her.
And also, the thing is like, there's a difference between being a bitch and being an actual bad person. Like, clearly the plantation thing when they got married was a bad thing. But, like, I'm not giving any excuses. It was 2006 when people didn't think about those kinds of things. Like, people didn't think about it. People didn't think...
Just like, oh,
it was
venue,
stupid
probably.
white people shit, obviously. But, like... I remember growing up and, like, I always thought plantation houses were absolutely beautiful in the South because they are. They're very beautiful architecture, but there's so much darkness in there that, like, as a teenager growing up in the South, I sure as hell didn't think of. Like, we weren't, first of all, we weren't taught that, so I didn't think about it. And it's now only until I, like, took cultural study classes and things I was like, oh, yeah, I wouldn't get married there.
I also feel like, you know
dark.
how we're
Spooky.
taking down, like, Confederate statues and shit. Maybe we should take down plantation houses.
Or,
I
like,
don't give a fuck if they're historical
I
or whatever.
don't know. Maybe, if anything,
something...
well, so here's my thing, is maybe not take them down because, if anything, turn them into historical museums and explain what happened to slaves there. Do it more like a Holocaust-y kind of thing. Like, bring to, like, the light more the people who suffered on that plantation. Like, maybe find information about the slaves who lived there and, like, do something of that. Instead of having it being a wedding chapel bullshit.
Or maybe, I don't know, use your superpowers for good and turn it into a homeless shelter.
Yeah!
Maybe help unhoused individuals.
Right! And it's like, I think...
Instead of charging people tens of thousands of dollars to come and have a wedding at your fucking
or a dinner,
mansion.
or whatever. A debutante ball.
Why don't you use that money and actually help people who need help?
Or you could be greedy like the people. So I lived in a neighborhood. It was a neighborhood of neighborhoods. We lived on, I don't remember what our little neighborhood was called, but the big neighborhood was called Flowers Plantation. And it was an old plantation lot, massive, like 50-acre lot, where they put like different neighborhoods. Can you guess how they planned out the neighborhood lots? Segregated by price. So, of course, like, in the very front near the grocery store and all the highway and everything was the houses from $50,000 to $150,000. And then tucked away in this really beautiful spot in the far left side of the neighborhood that was really hilly and gorgeous and woodsy were the $1 million houses, $500,000 plus. And then there was...
gentrification.
Yeah! My family was in the, like, lovely little median, like, $200,000 to $300,000, I think.
I hope that all the expensive houses are haunted.
Oh, God, they weren't because they were all brand spanking new.
Yeah, but what land are they on?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. Well, they were also right near the, so I'm assuming that's what these were because they were nicer homes, but they were small homes. I think the original plantation was in with, like, all the big expensive houses. We went trick-or-treating there, though. That was the best spot to trick. Full-size cans of Cokes and full candy bars. You can best believe we did 2 or 3 rounds in that goddamn Sparta. There's only 10 houses. You just change your mask and try and go through again. And half the time, if you walk that far, like, they don't remember you. They're too rich and too probably drunk. But,
they don't even notice if their own kids are around.
They probably had servants answering the door, and it wasn't even them. But, like, half the time they weren't even there. It was bowls. So it was just like, you just take whatever you want.
But, like, there were houses there was a main drag for 2 miles, and there were houses there on the side that were, like, little rental houses, and there was, like, 5 of them, and I'm 95% sure they were, like, the slave houses. Those looked fucking haunted. When I tell you... Oh, yeah! And then, like, in the middle of the $150,000 to $200,000 neighborhood, guess what was there? A cemetery! Because that's what's in every plantation. So there's cemetery of family and probably, somewhere nowhere near them. I'm sure it was probably in a different section, obviously. There's somewhere an unmarked grave site. Hey!
Haunted.
Sorry, we have a dog here. Yeah, Miss Ruby. You can't make that chair any more comfortable.
All of those houses haunted.
So it's like, I don't understand why you'd want to have a wedding in that kind of... Like, I don't feel like it'll be a wedding vibe, but then again, I'm also very, like... I feel vibes of ghosts and shit like that. So every time I've ever been near a plantation, I'm like, oh, it's really pretty, but I don't want to go in it. It feels really weird. It feels really creepy.
It's almost like going into a cemetery. It's like, it feels like a place that should be, like, a place of reverence and a place of, like, peace. And, like, this is what it is.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a long tangent about plantations.
Thanks, Blake Lively.
So,
and Ryan Reynolds.
This is my thing. I don't give a shit if she's a bitch. Because, like, she's never going to affect my life. Is she my favorite actress? God, no. I love Ryan Reynolds. It is what it is. They happen to be tied together. They seem cute together. They're happy. I don't give a fuck. I don't know them. I don't care.
She's not going to be a bitch to me, so what do I care?
Exactly. She's not J-Lo. I'm sorry.
Gets her to...
If she's going to get canceled for being a bitch, why isn't J-Lo more canceled? Like, if anybody, like, we have so many more people. Christian Bale. Yeah, that's true. Christian Bale.
Like her tour.
The world tour.
Not the Vegas residency.
Not the world tour. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Oh, that was great. But, like, there are other people who are just as shitty who are still around. So it's like, and they're men. I think it's just one of those things. It's like, it always bugged me. Like, I didn't know what was going on with Justin Baldoni. I didn't give a shit about Colleen Hoover. It all sounded like weird, stupid 50 Shades of Grey kind of booking. I'm not an ACOTAR person either. I tried reading ACOTAR, and I'm like, where's the smut? You guys lied to me. There's no smut in this goddamn book. And they're like, oh, it's in book 2. That's too long to wait for smut. Okay?
Also, there's something with the author that, like...
So, from my understanding with Sarah J. Maas, is her grandmother is from Israel, but she has not said anything about being in support of Israel. But she also hasn't said anything about being with Palestine. That's the last thing I heard, but that was months ago from Nikki. I'll have to ask Nikki if she has any updates about that.
I just know that Drew Afwalo and her fiance dressed up, and the internet ate them alive.
Yeah.
It's just like, can everybody calm down?
Right? Because that's from my understanding, from what I have heard, and from my limited knowledge, because I really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It was the fact that her grandmother's from Israel.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, she's related to somebody who's from Israel, which if you did that, there would be a lot of people who you'd cancel, and most of them are probably actually for Palestine.
We're not getting into Palestine right now. Moving on.
No. Anyways, we're on Blake Lively. We're talking about how women are being treated in society. And, like, I didn't read too much into it because, like, I just don't care about how a domestic abuse book is being presented as something floral. Now, when her lawsuit came out, I was a little bit more into hearing about it because his just sounded like petty shit. Everything I heard about Blake Lively just sounded like petty shit that judged women that we've heard over and over again about how she's a diva and she's difficult. And it's like, how many men have we called divas? None. And then, like, we get men who treat people like absolute trash.
Like Chevy Chase.
Like Chevy Chase. And who did I say that was in The Gladiator? Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, Alec Baldwin. Killed people. So, like, you know, men do a lot of shit and nobody cancels them. They ask for $150 autographs at fucking Steel City Con instead. God, I couldn't remember. I couldn't believe he wanted that much. That was Alec Baldwin, guys. Can you believe he wanted $150 for an autograph on just a picture? Not even on a special item. Just his basic-ass picture.
And I think his photos were like $200 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is diabolical.
We paid less than that for, like, full set photos. Like, the full cast photo for Scream was $300.
We got a photo with Richard Dean Anderson, who is MacGyver.
Yeah.
And it was $70.
Yeah. Like, no, you're not worth that much. I'm sorry, Alec Baldwin. Especially since you're not Alec Baldwin from, like, Beetlejuice Alec Baldwin. You're this Alec Baldwin. So, like, I don't know. At the beginning, I didn't pay attention to it because it just seemed like catty shit. And then everything came out with the talk about how purposely Justin Baldoni did talk about domestic abuse in the movie because the original press junket was not supposed to mention it. The original press junket was supposed to be the whole, like, grab your florals, girly, everything that Blake Lively's getting shit on for, and that everybody else in the cast
is doing what they were told.
Yes, and Justin Baldoni decided to be this, like, martyr and talk about how it's about domestic abuse and how, like, this, and this. I'm so glad his domestic abuse awareness award thingy he got. Look at you, little granny square. Got pulled away. But, my whole thing is like, the things that everybody's comparing is Blake Lively being a bitch in interviews, being difficult to work with, being demanding, her husband shouting at Justin Baldoni, and then Justin Baldoni's over here with the presentation of showing, I think it's either his wife or one of the executive producers' wives, naked pregnancy video that was a water birth that is nowhere near anything related to anything in Colleen Hoover's books. Like, there's no water birth anywhere near this story at all. So why are you showing your wife's naked water birth? Demanding that Blake Lively...
I would have divorced him.
You can best believe you're not showing my nudity to anybody.
Violating my body and my trust.
Unless she said something where she's like, I don't give a shit if anybody sees it. But, like, I highly doubt that.
But we have some opinions about people violating people's trust and privacy. But anyways.
And then on top of that is the talk about her weight and asking her personal trainer, like, one of the things she's claiming is that her personal trainer was reached out to by Justin Baldoni to ask her weight after 4 months later after having a baby, because he was to pick her up on a scene. There's no such scene. There's nothing in a script about him picking her up. There's nothing in the book. And he was using it under the guise of being afraid of his back. Work out more, bro. Use a stunt double. You don't need to do it. If your back is that delicate, you don't need to be doing stunts.
Also,
Brendan Fraser doesn't do stunts anymore because he broke his back. So then you don't need to do stunts anymore. Like,
and you're not even as cool as Brendan Fraser. Also, the only time you should be worried about a woman's weight is if she's sitting on your face.
Yes.
And even then, just
you should be happy about it.
Just
be happy she's on your face.
Until then, it's none of your fucking concern. No. Even then, it's not really any of your concern.
I only feel like the only reason it could be any concern is if you know the person personally and you're concerned about their health. If you're concerned and if they have a history of an ED and you're concerned about them, and even then you should talk to other people within their family and not directly to their personal freaking trainer, asking them, can you make her skinnier, essentially, asking them to help her lose weight after she just had a baby 4 months ago. No.
Eat a dick.
Like, I just worry about, like, what his poor wife has gone through. But, like, apparently it's against Justin Baldoni and, like, one of these other people within the movie. I don't remember. Ophie Dokie did a really good little doc. I was talking about that earlier. We have a little bit of disagreements on certain things, but, like, I stand by her idea of the whole, there's no such thing as a perfect victim. The fact that people are trying to use her being a bitch as justification for this harassment that she's done. And then there's just so much, like, little things where it's, like, locker talk kind of shit. Like, it's one of those things that people have excused for men for years. And it's just one of those things that's like, she stood up for other people and, like, you can hate her all you want. I don't like her. I don't care because that's not my friend and I don't know her personally. She makes okay movies. Like,
also, here's the thing.
Nobody deserves to be treated like that.
Also, just because you're an actor doesn't mean that you signed up to be asked the same 15 questions by 5 different people from 5 different magazines about your fucking movie. Maybe she's tired.
Yeah.
Maybe she's exhausted from having 4 fucking kids come out of her hoo-ha. Maybe she just doesn't want to be there.
And also, like,
do you want to be at your job every day?
I'm sorry. Tell me what teenager and anybody under the age of 25 is not a little snarky. I'm 3, almost 34, and I'm a snarky little bitch. If you ask me a stupid question, I'm probably going to give you a face because I have no filter. Like, but, like, men do it all the time and nobody says anything. That's my thing. It's like, it's just such a 2009 vibe, and I'm not here for it.
But, like, she's also, like, has had a decades-long career. Like,
and nobody's cared since. all of a sudden. And there's actual proof from emails and text messages from Justin Baldoni to his PR agency. That is the same PR agency that I guess was used against Amber Heard. I don't know. But like, reached out to his PR agency about her and talking about smearing her. Like, there's actual text messages that are in this lawsuit that it's not even a lawsuit. It is a not discrimination. What's the word when the harassment, when you file a harassment complaint, like that kind of thing, where it's one of those charges
like
that you
conduct or something.
Yeah,
like
it's when you go to the government and complain about the conduct of your business and like want to file a reporting or whatever. So she's not even technically suing him. She's just filing a complaint about sexual harassment in the workplace,
which
is very valid. And there's a reason he's not suing her. He's suing the New York Times for reporting on this and claiming that they didn't get his opinion. You didn't answer, my dude. And your friend did answer, and he answered pretty shittily. Your PR agency answered. Like, there's so many things that, like, I saw and read the New York Times article, and I'm just like...
Also, no one cares about your fucking opinion. No one asked.
It's the New York Times. Do you really think the New York Times is going to post something without verifying things? It's the New York fucking Times.
It's not the Post.
No. The New York Post has its own issues. Oh, my God, the New York Post has its own issues. But, like, the New York fucking
If you're
Times...
not a dead kid or a regular man saving a kid, you're not...
No one cares about the Post!
Like,
and it's not even like it's Vanity Fair who has their own issues. Like, I feel like the Times and like USA Today are two very big papers and like political, like writing things that they know what they're doing and they have big lawyers and they're not going to do it wrong because they don't want to deal with it.
It's their profession. It's
Yeah.
their job.
They know how to verify stuff.
Who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah. They're not just going to be like, oh, we're going to write a whole article for the entire world to read, but
listing all these things that like are about the like this case of harassment. That one of the harassment charges or like things that she's bringing up is the fact that they were doing a nonverbal like silent, like, you know how you have to do a thing for like a montage.
Yeah.
So they're just dancing. They're closely dancing together. It's a silent scene. There's no reason to talk. Apparently, according to Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni rubbed his lips up her neck and said, "You smell so good." My skin crawled hearing that the first time. Because I've been there. I've literally had that happen to me at 19 years old.
This is
when
why...
some 40-year-old dude, a fucking line cook, fucking cornered me in a cooler and gave me a hug and did the same kind of thing. Same kind of shit. So I totally believe that fucking shit.
This is why Ryan Reynolds lost his shit.
And that's the thing. People are saying he's a little pussy-ass bitch.
No.
No! I better hope my Ryan would go down. He would.
If my wife.
If Ryan had heard about that stuff.
If my wife came home and told me that somebody touched her inappropriately at work, I'm going to fucking jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to jail.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to make a scene.
Oh, yeah. Whether I'm either going to jail for assault or I'm going to jail for causing a disturbance. Or murder.
I'm going to jail.
Yeah. Somebody better stop me before it's murder. Like, it's just one of those things that's like, of course, he's her husband and he cares about her. Like, I have seen people defend less. So, like,
it's like
you can't make me think that is a bad thing.
It's like
there's nothing about that sounds like bad. That sounds like a husband sticking up for his wife. Whether she's wrong or not, he's still sticking up for his wife. If she is in the wrong,
as he should,
then whatever. I would be more disappointed if he hadn't done that.
I was gonna say I would be extremely disappointed if he heard that
Ryan Reynolds had heard about it and then didn't do anything.
Was acting inappropriately towards his wife and was just like, I think you're actually overreacting. Yeah. I think it's probably
And one of the other things is they coerced, they wanted her to do this, like, birthing scene nude, and that's where the whole, like, bath scene came from, like, the pregnancy bath scene. And Justin, or, I might be getting this wrong, one of the two guys that was talked about mainly was talking about how all women have babies nude.
No.
Where? Who, what, where, why?
I see videos on my stupid Facebook every single day.
They're always wearing bras, shirts.
Birthing.
I watched a video where a woman had a baby in the parking lot with her shorts still on, and the midwife caught the baby falling out of her. She wasn't nude.
I watched a woman give birth in a full gown.
Right. To say all women, that's a very bold assumption for you,
all
sir.
Men?
Right?
If it's all women, then it's
all men. All cops. Come on. Like, where are we at here? So, like, they ended up I'm gonna say coerced, because, like, that's the only thing I could think of, is if somebody, like, there was no original agreement for this, so that's where it's coming one, where it's like, if you have all these situations where you're being shown this stuff, and you're being told that you should do it nude, and all this stuff, you end up settling to just get them off your back. She ended up doing it nude from the bottom down. It wasn't on a private set. There were PAs and things walking in and out all the time. It wasn't on a closed screen. So, like, you know how, like, if you shoot something and there's the possibility of some nudities, there's not supposed to be broadcasted on all the screens when you're shooting, because there's only supposed to be one for the director and maybe, like, another person. Like, apparently it was still broadcast on all the screens. So if you have a lip slip, everybody's seeing it. So it's just, and then, oh my God, the guy they got to play the doctor, who was up and close in her little coochie bits with the little flap that they did not have an intimacy coordinator for, which is a big red flag to me, which should be mandatory on all movies, in my opinion. Whether there's kissing or not, I think I think that's a very required thing. Because there's touching, people get touched.
If you had to be coerced into doing a scene,
if you had to be convinced,
if you had to decide to just do it so they'd leave you alone, you didn't consent to doing that.
So, the doctor who's supposed to help her,
be a bitch.
Take a guess. Do you think it was an actual actor who played this doctor, who was all up in her and up close and personal? It was Justin Baldoni's best friend.
Of course it was.
How skin crawly was that? Like, like...
So you know what? Be a bitch.
Be a cunt. You have every right at this point.
You were basically assaulted on this stuff.
I'm at this point where if anybody comes out and the only information you have about, honestly, any woman at this point is just she's just a cunt or a bitch, I'm not believing you.
I don't care.
I don't care. Until you can come out and say she's actually touched people, she's screamed at people inappropriately, she's done any, like, J-Lo stuff.
She hit somebody.
She demands people to not look at her. Yeah, like, so she's not a good tipper, or she doesn't, like, there's worse things in life, and, like, I think that people who are horrible tippers should get other kind of karmas. I think your food should always be spit in, but that's just me. But, like, you don't deserve to be harassed. I don't think anybody, I can wholeheartedly, fully say, no, I can't, because I think Diddy shouldn't be harassed.
Oh, I can't wait for the documentary.
Okay, I can full-heartedly say anybody who is innocent and not a child predator or Diddy, they don't deserve to be harassed.
Or Jay-Z. Fuck him too.
That's right. I mean, he's...
Because I learned, I didn't know, I mean, I guess I didn't realize the age gap between him and Beyonce. He was 31.
When she was like
how old
20.
I'm 19, babe. I'm 31. I work with a kid who's, I think she turned 20? Yeah, I think she turns 21 this year.
Can you imagine?
That's not a sexual being to me. No. That's a baby child.
Well, that's like, it wasn't Selena Gomez. It was, what's her name? Who did, not See You Next Summer. Cool for the Summer.
Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato and, Wilder Valderrama. Fez. He was 28 and she was 18 or 29. That song 29 that she has is about him.
Gross.
Because it was when she turned 29 or whatever that she realized that she was a child and it was extremely inappropriate. He also, talking about inappropriate men, he slept with Lindsay Lohan right when she turned 18. Supposedly not beforehand. They were just friends. There's also a whole thing about, like, I could go into some deep dive on just, like, the 70s lore. It hurts so much because I fucking love the 70s show. And it's like 9 out of 10 of the cast is just trash. And it hurts.
Roseanne and she's a fucking cunt.
I know. It's like, why you guys gotta ruin my shows? I don't want to. I'm gonna have to find, like, at least season 1 of that 70s show on, like, the exchange. I'm sure I could find it at the exchange for, like, $1. But, like, that's the best season, is the first season. But I don't know. It's just one of those things that's like, I feel like we're going on the bad hygiene and the way women are being treated right now. I feel like we're just, and, like, Trump being president, I feel like we're revisiting the early 2000s and, like, this weird era of, like, no homo and all these weird things that people used to do, and it's like,
it's
cringe.
Almost like patriarchy sucks.
Yeah, it's almost like we're cyclically returning back to a shitty time because
I'm so fucking tired.
We gotta make it great again, man. So we gotta go back and make it great.
You know, at least the cast of SpongeBob doesn't suck.
Right.
At least they don't
Knock on wood, Tom Kenny.
At least they don't have to worry about that getting taken from us.
Right. And the sweetheart who is Art the Clown.
I just... Bless him. I just wish that the SpongeBob musical wasn't even good. I was going to say, I wish that SpongeBob wasn't such a piece of shit. But the musical...
Karma will get him, man. Karma. And that's the thing. It's like... we so quickly hate on... Like, so we were talking about how people were shitting on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively for possibly cheating with Scarlett Johansson and everything like that. But yeah, here we are forgiving Ariana Grande, but we're dragging all this shit back up. Well, meanwhile, ScarJo is happy in her marriage with her kid. Like, I'm sure she would sit here and be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't need to go back. Like, would I change it? Probably not. Why would... It sucks, but every man cheats. I feel like there's a good 9... I would say 8 out of 10 men probably cheat.
It's the same thing it's the
or
same
have
situation
cheated.
that I feel about Taylor Swift. They accuse her of relationship hopping. They talk about how she gets around, blah, blah, blah.
But yet Timothée Chalamet does it.
She was a normal, not famous person in her 20s. Nobody would bat a fucking eyelash.
I mean...
It doesn't make the news.
I have a very similar dating history of Taylor Swift. So it's
just being in your 20s.
Right.
You're allowed to date.
Let's say it. It's slut shaming.
Leave her alone.
Right. It's slut shaming and it's talking down to women and it's just making like it's double standards. It's double standards hardcore. And it's not to say that Taylor Swift God, she's got her own issues.
Hasn't been problematic, whatever. But like honestly, right now she seems really happy with Travis Kelce.
And that's all I want for anybody, is just to have like happy peace in life.
To be a billionaire, she's the least problematic billionaire that we could probably shake a stick at.
It'd be great I still think if she wanted to redeem herself and prove that she's not like every other billionaire, she would do a world tour where she wouldn't charge for tickets.
Or just give it all away. Like J.K. Rowling did before she opened her fat fucking transphobic mouth.
Right.
Because she lost her billionaire status.
Right.
She donated
to women's shelters, yeah. And it was just...
That's not... We'll get it...
We were rooting for you! We were all rooting for you!
You had one job.
Right. Keep your mouth shut. And that's the thing, is like, I don't understand these famous people.
Just shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
And you can still keep being famous and making money.
And making stupid decisions in private. Like, do you know how many stupid decisions I make in private?
Girl, for all we know, Pedro Pascal has some shitty opinions. Do we know about it? No. Because he keeps his mouth shut.
Yeah.
You know how I know he doesn't have shitty opinions? He's got a beautiful trans sister. And he takes her to events.
And he also, he loves nails. And he has these cute
bad example.
Yeah, bad example.
But you know what I mean? Like, you could like take oh, he's probably a really sweet guy.
Just like a normal dude. You could take like any normal dude and like that's the discussion we had earlier. You don't know anybody. I don't know you until I've actually read your brain. Like it's one of those things like I don't.
Oh, Mama, I'm autistic.
I know.
There's
only one thought in his brain. But that's what I was saying earlier, like, what I want is, I do want a prenup because I have my own business and, like, I have my own house and I want to keep things separate and I want to just, if anything ever happened, I want to keep it as easy as possible. And people always look at me like, well, you don't have that much stuff, or it's like, it's kind of silly to have one, like, you expect a marriage to fail or blah, blah, blah. First of all, 50-50. Who's to say? And second of all, I think divorce can be a very healthy thing. And third, you never know somebody until they hate you. Like, you will never know how a person thinks about you or feels about you, because there are always things that you hate about somebody or you don't like about them, and all it takes is that filter to go away.
Well,
you'd hate for all the things that make that you like about that person to no longer you don't like them, and so all you see is the negative. Of course, you're gonna be extra obvious.
You can just talk about things instead of letting the resentment build up.
That too. That takes a lot from people.
But straight people don't do that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even...
Sorry to the straights, but y'all don't fucking talk to each other.
Right. Y'all need therapy.
There's no straight people listening to this.
And if there are, they're like, hey.
One out of every 3 people is gay.
All right. Not me.
Not me.